Hey guys, it's Julie, and I'm here to give you a quick overview of best practices for ordering out at restaurants. So I've got some general tips, and then we're going to look at a menu for a Mexican restaurant, but we're going to focus on how the food is cooked and kind of thinking about how it might be prepared so that you know the right questions to ask and can end up getting what you want when you eat out. Okay, so 3 tips to start with. Number 1, choose restaurants that cook from scratch with fresh ingredients. So a great example of this would be a Mexican restaurant where they kind of do everything in-house. So pico de gallo is that mixture of chopped tomatoes and onions and cilantro and jalapenos. So you know if they're back there, mixing that up, regularly throughout the night. They can also just give you some plain chopped tomatoes and jalapenos if that's what you want. So when they're making things on the spot in-house, it's a lot easier to customize. Another great example of that is a restaurant that makes their own, freshly cut French fries. So they're not, purchasing pre-seasoned fries from a food supplier. They're actually cutting real potatoes, and you'd be able to order them before or get them brought out to you before they add any extra seasoning. Okay, tip number 2. Ask for help and let the server be your ally. So I know it's awkward to ask, especially if you're in a big group, but it's just something that, once you start doing it, it gets easier and easier. That's really the best advice I could give you. But speaking as someone who worked as a restaurant server for years, they are delighted to be your hero, Buddy up to them and let them help you. And, unless you've just got a horrible server, in most cases, they're gonna really like coming to your rescue. Tip number 3, opt for cooked to order menu options like fajitas or seared scallops. So this is where it comes to starting to think about and, research a little bit if you have to about how the food might be cooked. So I know this because I worked in a restaurant that served a ton of fajitas. You would order it and they would sear that steak to order, or the chicken or the shrimp, whatever kind of fajita it was. So even if, let's say it's a steak fajita, even if they pre-marinate it, they've got the steaks back there. They should be able to grab one out of the fridge for you that hasn't been marinated, if that is the case. So cooked to order food is really great, like seared scallops, rather than something like a seafood stew that's, simmering in a broth that's definitely filled with onion and garlic all day. Or beef barbacoa, that's, the Mexican shredded beef that's cooked super slow in, an oniony broth. So anything slow cooked, stewed, those are things that can't really be customized. Okay, since Mexican food is one of the most popular requests I've gotten from you and from everybody who's doing FODMAP, we're going to talk about a few of the things that are good bets when you order at a Mexican restaurant, and then just general things when ordering anywhere. So first off, if they can do quesadillas made with flour tortillas, then they can do them with corn tortillas. Just ask. They might look at you funny. Who cares? Nachos, they can leave off the beans and the salsa. Again, if they're making their own pico de gallo, they can bring you chopped tomatoes on the side and chopped cilantro. Of course, there's always the salad option. Most Mexican restaurants will have a taco salad. This one comes with crispy flour tortilla, but you can ask to leave that off. You can ask if there's onion added. In almost every case, I would just, even if a dish looks very promising, ask if there's onion and garlic in it and if that can be left out. We've got an ensalada verde. It's a pretty simple salad there. And of course, the salad dressing thing, always just ask for oil and vinegar if there's not a dressing that you feel comfortable ordering. Now, the chicken breast salad, that's a good option too. And of course, they give you the options to do beef or tilapia. So if they're cooking any of that to order, then they should be able to get you a piece that hasn't been pre-seasoned with a spice blend or a marinade. But mesquite grilled chicken. So you want to look out for words like mesquite or jerk chicken or blackened chicken. And, those are different cuisines, obviously, but things like that are clues that they may have been pre-seasoned. So you might think blackened just means it's, grilled black, but that often includes a blackening spice. And mesquite traditionally means it's grilled over a certain kind of wood or branches to kind of give it a certain flavor, but it can also refer to a spice that's added to the food. So you would just ask about that. Another word to look out for in every cuisine on menus is crispy. Crispy almost like 99% of the time means fried. So if it's a sushi restaurant, if it's crispy shrimp roll, then it's fried shrimp. And the thing is, you can have a little bit of wheat on the FODMAP diet unless you are gluten sensitive, which gluten is not a FODMAP. Unless you have a separate gluten sensitivity, you can have a little bit of wheat. So a couple pieces of a fried shrimp roll at sushi wouldn't hurt you, theoretically. But that's just one of those words to watch out for. Okay, I hope that was a really good, quick overview of eating out and some tips you can use. If you have questions, bring them to the Facebook Clubhouse. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.